What's up guys, it's Kevin, and today we are going to be ranking PJ Masks characters from good to evil, starting with Tier 1, Pure Smolbean. Forgive my 2018 Tumblr speak, but this is the tier with the characters who can do absolutely no wrong, and I really don't know how else to describe these absolute glowing rays of sunshine that bless all of our lives. We are starting off strong with everyone's favorite Smolbean, PJ Robot. This little guy was a flybot originally created by Romeo to befriend the PJ Masks and become a spy. However, Romeo made him way too sweet, and after genuinely befriending the PJ Masks, they adopted him into their team. PJ Robot is the purest of all PJ Masks characters, as he has nothing but good intentions and never wishes ill will on anyone. Except for that one time where he got angry at Romeo, and according to the show, we all know anger is a moral failing. I'm just kidding. PJ Robot could genuinely do no wrong in my eyes. Next up on the list, we got Pirate Robot. This little guy is another one of Romeo's inventions gone wrong. Initially designed to be a cooking robot and hijacked by Night Ninja, Pirate Robot became a rogue pirate of sorts who loves to team up with the heroes despite causing a lot of chaos in his own right. He has never had any loyalty towards Romeo and has no desire to cause harm to anyone. The dude just wants to be a pirate, and honestly, I respect that. Teeny Weeny is the tiniest Ninjalino who eventually became the Splat Monster when he gained superpowers from falling into a vat of magical splat. Once gaining his powers, he began training with Yu to become an ally to the heroes and use his abilities for good. Although he is one of the Ninjalinos, he's always been different from them, becoming friends with the PJ Masks early on to becoming a full-fledged ally later in the show. Romeo just can't stop creating minions who are genuinely good in nature, and Robot is yet another example of this. Although he has always been loyal to Romeo, I wouldn't consider him to be a villain per se. He's been shown to be kind to heroes, villains, and animals alike, and he always treats Romeo with kindness, despite Romeo being an absolute pill. When he's not carrying out Romeo's evil orders, he's usually just a joy to be around. Ice Cub is probably one of the kindest characters in the show. Although he doesn't get along with everyone all the time, he gives everyone a chance and tries to treat everyone with an equal amount of kindness and respect. He's popular at school for a reason. Ice Cub is proven to be especially pure of heart in his debut episode where he literally converts the power of the evil asteroid into pure goodness. That scene basically guaranteed him a spot in this tier. Bastet is quite literally a goddess and is devoted to heroism and battling Pharaoh Boy. She has a fiery spirit and seems prickly from the outside, but she is simply very serious about fighting villains. Her only motive is to protect innocent people from villainous crimes, and that lands her right in the tier of superheroes. Tier 2, Means Well. This tier is for those characters who aren't exactly perfect, but otherwise always intend to do the right thing. They may have some flaws and moral failings, but aside from that, aren't necessarily evil in nature. The PJ Masks consider themselves to be heroes and do a lot of good making sacrifices to protect the city, but that doesn't exactly excuse their many problematic behaviors. Catboy, Owlette, and Gecko all have their own flaws, which are the conflicts for every episode, as is the format of the show, but the main issue I have with them is the way they think and behave as a group. The three of them consider themselves to be morally superior to every other character and claim authority over matters that they really should not have any power in. They are vigilantes after all. They often exclude and berate others who try to help, and treat villains unfairly in various situations. There's a reason the fandom calls them the PJ Mean Girls, and I actually made a whole compilation of these behaviors here. This is a whole discussion on its own, so if you want to hear me go more in depth on this, check out my video on the morality of PJ Masks here. Regardless, the PJ Masks are trying their best to be heroes under insane pressure and try their best to be fair and kind, so they got their spot in this tier. Although Newton Starr considers himself to be one of the heroes in the later episodes, he initially was more occupied with keeping to himself and exploring the secrets of the universe alone. This is honestly based of him because the PJ Masks were super annoying in trying to recruit him, despite him constantly telling them that he wanted his space, pun intended. Of course, this leads to some less than great actions from him, but overall, he tries his best, and he is a good guy at the end of the day. Lily Faye falls under a similar umbrella as Newton, where she is one of the heroes and is good at heart, but has understandable flaws as a character. Just a disclaimer, characters should have flaws. I'm not criticizing the fact that they're not perfect, just so we're clear. Overall, Lily means well and can be classified as a hero. Lastly, for this category, we have everyone's favorite Wolfie, Kevin. Now, Kevin is kind of a controversial character as far as alignments go, because he is associated with the Wolfie kids who already straddle this neutral to villain spectrum, depending on your personal opinion. Kevin is shown to be the good member of the Wolfies, but he is still associated with them through the course of the show. Me personally, I'm just gonna come out and say that Kevin is a good guy. He's not perfect, of course, since he still goes along with Rip and Howler's shenanigans, but I'm pretty sure everyone can agree that he is pure of heart and just good in nature. He's kind and peaceful and doesn't agree with a lot of the Wolfies' destructive actions. This is a whole topic on its own, but I consider the Wolfies to be neutral. Destructive, yes. Evil, no. They may be antagonists, but they're not remotely close to being villains in my opinion. They're just a bunch of rowdy, crazy kids who don't have much respect for property damage or authority. Tier 3, Anti-Hero. This tier is for characters who quite simply are anti-heroes, or heroes who display behaviors and traits that are not typical of a hero. Armadillon is probably the first or only character you think of in PJ Masks when you hear the term anti-hero. His whole character arc revolved around him trying to decide whether to be a villain or a hero and which path to take in doing that. Ultimately, he wanted to be a hero from the beginning and is classified as a hero in the end of the show, but along the way he did play the villain a few times or took a few villain-esque approaches to playing the hero. He's a little confused, but he's got the spirit. Ann Yu is classified as a hero in the show, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here and place her in the anti-hero tier. Although she is ultimately a hero, she does take a different approach to being a hero, sometimes resorting to shady behaviors to defeat villains, as well as having a questionable moral past. If you want to hear more of an in-depth character analysis on Ann Yu, check out my video here. Alright, this might be a little bit of a hot take. Cameron is shown to be kind of a bully and not the nicest person, but he does want to be a hero, albeit for the wrong reasons. The bar is low-key in hell here, but he did show a small amount of bravery as Captain Cameron and did genuinely want to help with the mission. For that, I'm putting him in the anti-hero tier. Tier 4. True neutral. This tier is for characters that genuinely do not lean towards good or evil, but instead have no moral alignment whatsoever. I already talked a little bit about Rip and Howler earlier, but just to recap, yeah, I genuinely don't think they lean good or bad. They're just goofy kids who have no focus other than having fun and causing a ruckus. Although Orticia is briefly an antagonist in the show, I wouldn't say she leans good or evil in nature. She's neither a hero or a villain, but simply a little girl who just wants to protect her beloved plants. Monkey Goo is another notorious neutral antagonist who exists solely to have fun and truly doesn't mean any harm. He's not a hero by any means, but he's also not even close to being a villain. He's just a silly little guy who likes to cause chaos. It has always pissed me off how the show depicts Monkey Goo and Orticia as being villains. They're just neutral little kids, in my opinion. Robette is another one of Romeo's robots who malfunctioned to take over the world, but is otherwise nice to the heroes. This might be another hot take, but I think Robette is truly neutral. She's just a malfunctioning robot after all, and doesn't have much personality outside of that. Tier 5. Anti-villain. This tier is for villains who display behaviors and traits that are not typical of a villain, or villains who lean just a little bit hero. We are starting this tier off strong with Luna Girl, who is probably the most infamous anti-villain in the show. Although she proclaims herself to be a villain and spends the majority of her time on the show wreaking havoc and carrying out evil plans, she has an abundance of episodes where she is shown to have a sweet side and genuinely get along with the PJ Masks. She even teams up with them a few times to take down other villains like Romeo, and the show makes it very clear that she's not all bad. If you'd like to hear a more in-depth character analysis of Luna, check out my video here. Although Gloop III started out as a villain intent on destroying worlds like his forefathers, he had a mini character arc at the end of the series where he decided that maybe the villain life wasn't for him. It wasn't a full redemption arc and quite frankly came completely out of left field, but he did seem to have a small change of heart. At the end of the day, we'll never know what happened to him because the show ended there. Percival is Octobella's henchman, but he's been shown to have somewhat of a soft side, unlike his boss. Although he has feelings, which Octobella clearly doesn't, he does still consider himself to be her sidekick, which is pretty malicious in itself. For this reason, I'm gonna put him in the anti-villain tier. The Ninjalinos are Night Ninja's minions, and they take pride in what they do. Although they have fun carrying out evil plans and causing chaos, they really aren't all bad all the time, and sometimes enjoy hanging out with the heroes and helping them. They're kind of flip-floppy on which side they take, so it just really depends on how they're feeling that day. Overall, I would consider them to be anti-villains as they are pretty loyal to Night Ninja. Tier 6, Certified Mean Girl. This tier is for the characters who are villains true blue through and through. There's no denying that Feral Boy is a villain. He's sadistic and goes to extreme measures to get his way. His main goal is ruling the world, and he truly believes that he is in charge. Probably one of his craziest powers is being able to control others' movements and ability to speak, which is just terrifying when put in the hands of someone like Feral Boy. He's shown to be very conniving and manipulative, and overall just fits the villain criteria to a T, no doubt about that. Although Matsuki is just a kid, she has her heart dead set on causing chaos at the expense of everyone else, even her sister. Nothing brings her more joy than upsetting other people, and she goes out of her way to be everyone's problem. Matsuki is an ally to no one and a menace to everyone. As the official website states, how can something so young and cute be so mean? You'd be surprised. The main goal of the Speedy twins, Carly and Kartaka, is to be the fastest. Their whole thing is challenging others to race, and if it wasn't for the other stuff they did, I would classify them as neutral. However, Carly and Kartaka get most of their joy from just being mean. They crushed the PJ Masks vehicles for parts, which is just insane by the way, and probably one of the cruelest things they could do to these kids who love their vehicles so much. Still makes me livid even after a few years. Night Ninja is one of the original villains, and he is one of the best examples of a true villain. He's the classic leader who utilizes his abilities and minions to carry out evil plans, and he doesn't really have any redeeming qualities despite accepting help from the PJ Masks once in a while. His main motive is to be the best and achieve whatever he wants at the moment. He's incredibly determined and will stop at nothing to execute his plans. Tier 7, definitely going to hell. This tier is for the most vile of villains, the characters who don't have a single redeeming quality or a shred of decency. These villains would sacrifice puppies to take over the world or torment people. The first unredeemable villain is Romeo. For years, he was the most insane villain on the show. With the goal of taking over the world, he uses his inventions in increasingly creative and disturbing ways, going so far as to wage war on the moon, dismantle Luna's fortress, turn Matsuki back into a moth, and attempt mass murder, or homicide, more than once. His villainous behavior is so bad that the PJ Masks often team up with other villains to stop him. And lastly, we have the most unredeemable villain of all, Octabella. The only thing that bumps her above Romeo is the fact that unlike any of the other villains, she doesn't have a single motive other than causing pain. She lives to make Gecko's life hell and torment him every chance she gets. Octabella derives joy only from torture, getting nothing else out of it other than the pure euphoria of seeing someone else suffer. And that is why I consider Octabella to be the most evil character in PJ Masks. And there we have it for the moral alignment ranking of PJ Masks characters. This was a highly requested video, so I hope you enjoyed. If you disagree with anything in the video, make sure to let me know your opinions in the comments. I'll see you next time. Kevin out.